What's up, guys? Welcome back to another YAP session. Today I actually wanted to talk about something that I do, specifically gym stuff. I wanted to go over my program. Like, people ask me, like, how do I go about programming something? To be honest, I don't even know how to answer that question. Like, people ask me that pretty often, especially I work at a gym, and that's constantly something that people ask, and I don't know how to answer that question. But I guess the best way I can answer that is by going over exactly how I think, if that makes any sense. Like, what's going through my head, how do I program my own programming, right? And maybe you can get something out of that, because I don't know how to program something for someone individually. Just so many niche scenarios, so many things, variables that can affect it, and you don't really. I'm not 100% positive how to weave around all that. But I can definitely tell you what I do, right? I right now I am running an upper lower rest repeat, right? I think that is the best split. It is the coolest one. It's the pumps are great, the progress is great, the strength gains are great, especially if you know how to properly program it. Um, but something I think I try to apply to all my programs, right? Whether that's PPL, that's Arnold split, Bro split, which I don't know why you're doing this the Bro split. I think it sucks, but um, or upper lower, or even all the way down to full body. One thing I think you should always keep in mind is what you're able to recover from, right? This can vary depending the person, because there's, like I said, there's a lot of variables that come together to affect what you can recover from, right? Like, if you have an office job, you're gonna recover just a tad bit quicker because you're moving less than somebody who works in construction, right? Or builds houses and they're constantly lifting 80-pound bricks, right? Recovery is gonna vary, right? So I always say, base it off of what you can recover. Now, how do I know that? This is where I don't know if it's the sad part, but the disappointing part is trial and error, right? You gotta fucking find out. That's just how it is, right? We all recover differently. We all need different volumes. And the only way to know how much volume you're able to recover from is by testing it out, right? Let's say the way I keep it from is, let's say on an upper day, right? You're trying to hit everything in your upper body, chest, back, arms, shoulders, right? Um I try to keep the toppest set I do to 4 sets, right? 4 sets per muscle group. So for the chest, the highest I'll ever go is just four sets. That's it. Because that is what I think I can recover from, and anything above that immediately starts to diminish, right? Like, the diminishing returns starts to take effect. Like, you progress for like a week or two, but after that your strength just drops, right? And that is when you know you're doing too much volume. You can't recover, right? If you're losing strength week to week, that is your evidence that you are not recovering, right? I always tell people to start with 1 set. I know that sounds crazy. Sounds crazy. But start with 1 set, right? Let's say you're doing push pull legs, and I would say start with 2 because I think starting with 1 is kind of crazy. But for upper lower, that's how I did it, right? I started with 1 set. You're obviously gonna recover from that, right? After 3 or 4 weeks, up it by 1, right? Now you're doing 2 sets. In 2 to 3 weeks, you recover perfectly fine, gaining strength. Up it again, up it to 3 sets this time, right? And keep doing that until eventually your strength starts to either plateau or diminish, right? You start to lose strength. That is how you know that you are not recovering from that volume, right? But that's the hard part, right? Trial and error. And I know it sounds crazy, trial and error, and you have to do it 2 to 3 plus weeks, right? It could be more than that. Like, that's how long you have to try it out, see if you can recover. If not, yeah, you gotta change it up. That's how it is. That's how it is, right? And that's a main part in programming, is knowing what you can recover from. Another thing is priority, right? Obviously, like, if I were to put a graph in front of you, there is a total number of sets our whole human body can handle in one day, right? Now, if you wanted to prioritize everything, you would have to do 3 to 4 sets for everything, right? That's how much I can recover from. So doing 3 to 4 sets for every muscle in my body, that's for an upper day. I'll be there forever, right? That is something that is so important. You cannot prioritize everything, right? You will never be able to prioritize everything. That's just not possible, right? So always choose one thing at a time. Prioritize what you find more important, right? For example, for me right now, my priority is to grow my chest as efficient as possible, right? So I'm gonna push the limits of how many sets I can recover from for my chest, and that's it. For everything else, I'll be hitting the lower end of that volume set, right? So I'll be doing 1 or 2 sets for the rest of my body, right? But for my chest, I'll be doing a higher amount of volume. Because like I said, you have a total amount of sets your whole human body can handle. You're not going to be able to prioritize everything. And then you apply that same logic to every other muscle, right? Some people prefer to prioritize side delts, right? Your shoulders. Same premise. Put it at the beginning of your workout. That is very important that it's at the beginning of your workout, and hit it with the most recoverable sets. And then everything else can come after with lower end sets, so you're not fatiguing yourself to the max, right? Like, you have to play it smart. You can never ever prioritize everything, and you have to sadly you have to learn that the hard way. Like, immediately when you start seeing diminishing returns and I'm losing strength, but why? That is why. It's because you're trying to prioritize everything. That's not possible, right? And another thing when it comes to programming that a lot of people, I guess, seem not to understand is, especially when it comes to programming, you gotta learn to vary your intensifier with how much volume you're doing, right? If you're doing very high amounts of volume and your intensity is down here, you are going to be able to recover. If it was the opposite, you will also be able to recover, right? I don't know if that makes any sense. So, like, if you have a high amount of volume, right, you're 4 to 5 sets each muscle group, but your intensity is like not even there. You're doing like barely close to failure, like 3 to 4 to 5 reps in reserve, right? You are going to recover way differently than somebody who's doing 2 sets, but to complete failure, right? So you got to learn to gauge that, right? You have to learn how to move that around, and this comes with experience. Sadly, this is how you learn to gauge this out. That's why I don't know if you see a lot of people online doing full body splits and stuff like that, and they're able to do high amounts of volumes and still recover. It's because they learned how to gauge their 2 systems, volume with intensifier, right? They know how to bring the intensifier part not to full failure, but just slightly before failure, so they're able to recover session to session. And if you learn how to manage these 2 things, it is a game changer, right? Because that can make it so you can do any split in the world, right? And properly build muscle. Whether that's upper lower rest repeat, or upper lower rest, full body every other day, or if that's PPL, the Arnold split. Like, if you learn how to manage these 2, it's such a game changer. But you have to know what true failure is like, and that is, I don't know if that's tough to do, or I mean that is I'm speaking out of like my perspective. I've been training to failure for so long that I learned how to gauge the intensifier. So I see it in a lot of people that don't know how to train intensity, and then I go to a bodybuilding gym and then everybody trains intensively. So it's like it's tough to gauge those stuff, but you really have to learn how to manage your intensifier with your volume, and that'll change the game like a lot. I want to see if I'm missing anything. I think I talked about volume, intensifier, programming. Oh, and proper exercises, right? That has a lot to do with like how to properly program something, right? You cannot do 4 exercises doing the same thing for your chest, right? You gotta learn to take away redundancy, right? If you're doing a chest press and you're doing a chest fly flat, they're both flat, you're doing the same movement. Like you see the difference? There's absolutely, you're doing the same arm path, right? And that is something that's very important, because I said earlier in this video that you can do up to 1 or 2 sets per exercise, and some people take that as if, oh, I'm gonna do 4 exercises for my chest, I'm gonna do 1 or 2 sets each, and then they wonder why they can't recover, right? No, it's 2 to 4 sets for my muscle group, right? That's what I try to say, right? I don't know if I said that earlier, but 2 to 4 sets is what I find the highest for my muscle groups, right? So I am not going to do a flat chest press and then move on to a fly, because that is the same thing, right? So you got to choose one or the other and avoid redundancy. Whichever one you like the most, stick to it and get strong into that one. Same thing with shoulder press. A lot of people don't understand what each shoulder press does, and yes, the handle does matter. It will affect what gets hit and what muscles involve what muscles. So if you do a neutral grip, it will involve more your upper chest and your front delts, whilst if you did a frontal plane grip, which is on your side, that will involve less upper chest. It will involve more side delts and front delts, right? So you gotta know what is redundant and what isn't, right? Like if you're spamming shoulder press on the side, you're hammering your side delts, and then you go do another 4 to 5 sets of lateral raises. Like that could be a lot to do for your side delts, right? That will affect if you're able to recover or not, right? And vice versa with everything else, especially your back. Back gets all complicated a lot, and a lot of people like to be redundant with their back, like doing the same movement. Like for example, let's say you're doing a lat pull down, right? And instead of you're just pulling from up front, then they go to a close grip, they're doing the same thing. Then they go to another one, same thing, pull over, same thing. Like it's all about bringing this arm here, right? I always just recommend just choosing one exercise that you enjoy, that does that joint action, and you can progress, right? And that could be pretty much anything. Like people like bench pressing. As long as you can get strong on the bench press, you're gonna have huge chest, right? Vice versa, right? If you like the lat pull down, or you like weighted pull-ups, a lot of people like those weighted pull-ups, you're gonna have an insane back as long as you get strong on those, right? Like just avoid redundancy, avoid the same joint actions when it comes to programming, and you'll see a lot of growth. Just stick to what you like, right? Exercise choice has a lot to do with stuff like that. And I always recommend, like I said multiple times, choose what you like, right? A lot of people have different likings when it comes to the gym. Some people like this exercise more than this one, and as long as you stick to what you can stick to the longest, you'll see the most progress. And obviously as long as you're getting stronger, right? But yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything. I think that's all when it comes to programming. That's how I try to program it myself. Like, some people like to. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term minimalist and maximalist. Is like maximalist sounds exactly what it's like. You're trying to do the most possible to get the most hypertrophy possible, while the minimalist is trying to do the minimalist possible, like the least amount possible to grow as much as possible, right? And I think if you're either or, you're going about this wrong. I think right in the center is the perfect way to do it. And as long as you can stick to a programming that you like, can be anything. As long as you're doing exercises that you like, could be anything. As long as you avoid redundancy, obviously, and you're recovering just fine, you're gonna get jacked. It's that simple, right? Programming can be overcomplicated a lot of the time, um, and as long as you learn to recover and get stronger week per week, then you'll be fine, right? I do always recommend people to do their own research, just because I think it's very important to know the why to certain things. Like, why is this guy telling me to avoid redundancy, right? If you look into it more and actually learn to understand it, you'll be better off than just some random trying to explain to you why, right? And on top of that, I suck at explaining things. I'm not. I don't even know if I'm doing good right now, right? Like, I probably sucked at all of this, and you guys didn't understand anything. It just went over your head. It's probably because I suck at explaining things. But yeah, that's how I try to. That's how I go about programming my own program, right? I obviously say try it out, trial and error, try things out. It's not working, switch it up, and learn the why. Always do your research. Everything is free nowadays. You can find it everywhere. But yeah, I think that's it for this yap session. That concludes that. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope my fellow people get jacked, because that's what we all want. Or maybe that's just what I want. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next yap session. Bye.